I was thinking about this. I talked a little bit about stuff like this on the last vlog entry or whatever you're going to call these things. But I hear it come up all the time, and I just heard it again on a podcast where people are talking about when they talk to old people, like towards the end of their lives. There's a little chihuahua on a rascal right there. That's cool. They talk about people at the end of their lives, and they ask what their regrets are, and it's kind of the same common theme. They'll say like, oh, nobody ever says like, I regret not, or I wish I had worked more, and I wish I had made more money. They never say stuff like that. It's always like, I wish I had more experiences. I wish I had spent more time with my family or with my kids growing up and all this stuff. And I don't have kids, but like obviously, I could come up with different things that are sort of similar to that. And so it got me wondering, like, you know, what am I going to think about at the end if I'm going to have similar thoughts, like I wish I had done this differently and all this kind of stuff. And because I think about, you know, I'm working all the time, and like I'm spending a lot of my time being sort of stressed out and under pressure, and it makes me wonder, like, if that keeps going that way, am I going to be one of those people that's like, man, I wish I didn't work so much, and I wish I didn't do all these kind of things. But then I think about, like, what would I accomplish if I didn't do all the things that I'm doing? And like I think about why do I work this much? Like, it's not so much, and you know, why am I putting all this energy into building a business and doing all this kind of stuff? And I guess like a lot of people, they're doing that to get wealthy, and like I'm trying to get wealthy, but like I don't really need or care about material stuff. Like I don't really care, like I don't have to drive this cargo van. It's like I used to have a Cadillac, and it was really nice, and I kind of miss that car, but like it was such a pain in the ass every time I had to go to fucking Home Depot and pick up some wood or something, or haul some fucking artwork around for the studio or whatever. Like I kept having to like rent a truck or, you know, stuff like that. So I ended up just getting rid of the Cadillac, and I got this van. It's like a box on wheels. But like I joke with Jesse, I'm like, yeah, it's a fucking weird to have like a van with no windows as my everyday driver, but it's like super utilitarian, and it's super useful. And she's always really grateful that I have it, because anytime she wants to go to Home Depot and get like a bunch of plants and fucking I don't know, just whatever, or move things around, we have this, and it's something that we can use to do those things. So like I don't really care about fancy things and all this kind of shit, but I do have a purpose for why I'm working so much. So I wonder if like that's part of why, you know, at the end of life for a lot of people, that they're like, I wish I didn't work so much, and I wish I had more experiences, because maybe they didn't have a purpose as to why they were actually doing that. Like maybe they were just part of the rat race because they thought that's what they were supposed to do, or maybe they wanted those material things, and then at the end of their life they were like, I can't take any of this shit with me, so why did I work so hard for all that when I could have like lived a more modest lifestyle? And like I'm working hard, and I'm also not super wealthy, so I mean it's like I don't know how to relate to that. I mean we're doing, I don't know, we're on the way to things, and you know, it's not like I'm struggling, but it got me thinking though about all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking, because I could, you know, just for context, like why am I working so much, me personally? Like obviously, well, not obviously, I want to be wealthy, but like I want to be able to do all kinds of cool shit, like rescue a ton of dogs. Like I really want to get to the point where like I have so much extra money laying around that like literally anytime I see like a dog that was abandoned, I can afford to rescue that dog. You know, it's like simple things like that. Or like I want to scale my business, not just for the sake of scaling it, but I want to scale it because I want to create opportunities for all the people that work for me. And in our team meetings, I always talk to them and I say, you know, we're going to build this thing and it's going to create opportunities for you, and you're going to be able to you know, work your way up in the company and do, you know, I'm trying to build careers for people and create opportunities, build jobs, create jobs, and all this kind of stuff. If a machine gets to the size, you know, where we employ 100 people, that's 100 jobs that were created from the company. And then within the company, if we're building like a really strong culture where it's like a place that people come to work and they focus on like personal development, and we do like in our company we have like a book club where we read a book and we talk about it every week, and you know, so we do all of these things that I think if you come to work for a machine, the goal is that you're going to leave, well, hopefully you stay, but I mean, if you don't, you're going to leave better off as a better person than you were when you got there. So I mean, like there's a whole purpose around it. It's not just building a company just to make a bunch of money. Like there's all kinds of different reasons behind it that don't revolve around simply generating money for the sake of generating money. And so that's what gets me wondering. And I think like I'm at 50 years old now, and I'm like, you know, most of my life is spent pretty stressed out, and I'm wondering if that's the right thing to do. But then I think about the things that I want to accomplish, and I think there's no other choice. Like I don't have another choice. But, well, I do have a choice to try to manage my stress levels. But as far as like the output, like I don't feel like I have a choice other than to put out as much effort as I possibly can. And I guess sort of like as a little side note, what I think I could probably do better is manage my energy better and find the things, you know, there's the 80-20 principle. It's like 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, and there's studies about it. There's a whole book about it. Like, for example, you can put the 80-20 on a lot of different things, like even to something like 80% of the wear of your carpet in your house happens in 20% of the house, you know, shit like that. Like they were able to find all these different parallels. So like in business, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, you know, all these kind of things. So I know I could do better at finding that 20% where my efforts will be sort of amplified if I focus on those things, which I'm doing now. I'm trying to figure that out. But I guess the one thing that I was thinking is like I guess what I mentioned before, I don't feel like I have a choice but to put out this kind of energy. And even like putting shit like this out, like I know, you know, maybe it's just, I don't know, some of the feedback I get, people do find it valuable. And so I feel an obligation, like if I have some kind of knowledge or something, and I'm not saying, like I didn't make any of this shit up. This is stuff that I read and I came across it. I'm not some fucking philosopher that just like came up with all this stuff that I talk about. Literally everything that I talk about is stuff that I've read or absorbed from some other source, and then kind of like figured out how it applies. And I'm hoping that maybe, you know, putting it back out there, that maybe it's going to catch people at the time that they need to hear it. And so I just feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I don't know if, you know, in 30 years or 40 years, I don't know how long I'm going to live, but like hopefully I got another 40 years. That would be cool. But I'm wondering, like, if I keep going down this path, like what that's going to look like for me. And I wonder if you think about that, what does that look like for you? Like, what are you doing right now? And is there a strong reason behind why you're doing the things that you're doing, or are you just doing them because you think you're supposed to do them? And I don't know that I figured that out until, you know, pretty later in life, like probably in, I don't know, would think like somewhere around 40 or late 30s, I started to realize that, and it wasn't solidified until even later. So I just wonder about that, and I wonder, like, because I feel like if I took my foot off the gas and was like, oh, I should have more experiences, and I'm not saying I shouldn't do that, but I'm saying, like, maybe if I worked less, or if I did this more, did more things, maybe that is a good thing. But at the same time, I'm like, but like, how much further along could I get if I didn't take my foot off the gas and I just kept pushing forward? And so I guess I'll close on something that I thought about, and something that I've heard other people say is, your life is often in different seasons. So like, what season are you in right now? Like, are you in actually, I just heard this on a podcast. Like, a guy was saying, something like, I have all these interests, but like right now I really want to become this, I think it was like bodybuilding or something. Like, I really want to focus on that. So like, I can't do all of these other things. Like, I know if I want to be like an elite bodybuilder and also still be a good dad, I probably can't be a billionaire, because I can't really put all my energy into all that stuff. And so that's the season that this person's in right now. And he also mentioned, like, I don't remember exactly what it was, so like, what I'm probably going to say probably isn't what he said, but I think it was something like, if you're a single mom and you're trying to build a new business or something like that, maybe now is not the time to lose that 20 pounds. And I don't know if I agree with that or not, but I do understand what he was saying. It's like, you only have a certain amount of energy. So like, if you're like, I want to be the best in the world at this one thing, then you probably have to not do a bunch of other things in order to free up the energy to actually be the best in the world. Like, if Michael Jordan back in the day was, working to be, and I don't know shit about Michael Jordan, so I'm just, this is my assumption. Like, when he was working to be the very best basketball player of all time, he probably didn't have a whole lot of extra energy to do all kinds of other shit. And I know he's done other things like shoes and all this kind of stuff, but like, I don't know, that might not even be a good example, but maybe it is. I don't know. I could look it up, or you could look it up too. I'm just saying, like, you only have a certain amount of energy, and I feel like I only have a certain amount of energy, and so I feel like right now I'm in this season where I have to put in this kind of effort, this maximum amount of effort, because I've made promises to people on my team, and I have promises in my mind that there's all these animals that need me, and obviously, like, I could volunteer my time, but like, if money is definitely a multiplier if you think about it. Like, I could go volunteer for 8 hours, or I could donate $100,000. That $100,000 is gonna do a lot more good than me using 8 hours of my time, or 40 hours, or 100 hours. So that's kind of where I'm at with that, as far as like, I'm not just working for the sake of working. So I don't know, how does that relate to you? Like, what do you, maybe that gets you thinking about, what season are you in, and are you working towards something that makes it so that when you're reaching the end of your life, that you're looking back and being like, I don't think anybody, well, I don't know, I think it'd be pretty hard to live a life where you're like, I don't regret shit, everything's dope, I did everything I wanted to do. I don't know if that's the thing, but like, maybe that is something that we can kind of like strive for, and make it so that we're a little more mindful of how we're spending our time, so that like, when we do reach that point where we're at the end and we kind of reflect back, we look back on it and are less likely to be like, man, I wish I had done this. Like, maybe there's not as many of those if we're mindful about it now. I don't know. Hope that helps. I'll see you next time.